Speed means nothing without direction. That's a hard truth most people don't want to hear because we've glamorized the hustle. We've made busy the badge of honor. Everyone's sprinting toward what, though? Toward burnout, toward half-baked goals that were never clearly defined, toward some vague idea of success that was copied from a highlight reel on social media. That's not ambition. That's panic dressed up as productivity. You can wake up early, stay up late, fill your calendar with back-to-back calls, hammer through your to-do list. But if you don't know why you're doing it, you're just spinning. Momentum feels good, it feels productive, it gives you the illusion that you're getting somewhere. But movement without direction is just noise, it's not progress, it's distraction. You can run 1,000 miles in the wrong direction and feel exhausted at the end of it. That's not the flex is being intentional. And let's be clear, this isn't about slowing down or waiting around. This is about being calculated, strategic. It's about knowing what you want, reverse engineering it, and then executing with precision. There's a difference between being fast and being frantic. Frantic energy leads to mistakes. It leads to desperation. And when you operate out of desperation, you compromise your values, your standards, your vision. You say yes to opportunities that don't align. You take clients that drain your energy. You chase short-term wins that sabotage your long-term growth. Having direction means you understand what matters. It means you're willing to pause long enough to ask, is this actually moving me forward, or am I just afraid of being still? Stillness requires confidence. People who trust themselves don't rush. They don't need external validation to confirm that they're doing enough. They don't need to show off their speed, they show results. They understand that effectiveness beats efficiency every single time. There's a kind of quiet strength in patience. When you know where you're going, you don't need to prove anything. You don't panic when things don't happen overnight. You stay consistent, you stay focused, and you don't let urgency knock you off course. That's leadership, that's power. Think about this. If you're in a car going 100 miles per hour but your GPS is off, you're just getting lost faster. That's what most people are doing in their businesses, in their careers, in their lives. They're chasing the next thing, the next product launch, the next job title, the next follower count, without stopping to ask, is this even aligned with the life I'm trying to build? And by the time they realize they're off course, they've already burned through their energy, their resources, and their confidence. You don't win because you're fast. You win because you're aligned. You win because you have clarity. And clarity doesn't come from movement. It comes from stillness, reflection, and brutal honesty. That's the hard part, sitting with your vision long enough to understand it, admitting when you're wrong, adjusting when it's uncomfortable, saying no to things that look good on paper but don't fit your purpose. It takes more strength to slow down and recalibrate than it does to keep pushing blindly. That's the difference between amateurs and pros. Amateurs chase speed, pros pursue mastery, and mastery takes time, it takes patience, it takes commitment to direction over pace, so don't let the pressure to move fast rob you of your clarity. Don't confuse action with intention. Don't let busy be your identity. Instead, build a vision that's so clear you don't need to chase every shiny opportunity. Build discipline so solid you don't get distracted by noise. Build momentum that's rooted in purpose, not panic. Because speed will fade, hype will die down, the only thing that lasts is direction, the kind that comes from intentional choices made over time. That's the ultimate flex, moving with so much clarity that your pace doesn't rattle you. You don't rush, you don't force, you build quietly, strategically on purpose. Real growth isn't fast, it isn't loud, it doesn't explode onto the scene overnight with fireworks and fanfare. Real growth is slow, intentional, and often invisible to the outside world. And that's exactly why most people quit before it happens, because it's not glamorous. There are no immediate rewards, no instant recognition, no viral moments, just repetition, just effort, just showing up again and again with no guarantee of applause. That's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to hear. We live in a culture that romanticizes speed. People want results yesterday. We're addicted to quick fixes and shortcuts. 30 day plans, 5-step formulas, hacks for everything. But real transformation doesn't come in a flash. It comes from being committed to the long haul. It comes from putting in the work when no one's watching. It comes from doing the hard, unglamorous things over and over until they become who you are. And that's the part that separates the talkers from the doers. You don't grow just by deciding you want more. You grow by doing what's required even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when it feels like nothing's changing. That's what growth really looks like. It's not a highlight reel. It's not a straight line. It's a process full of resistance, failure, and course correction. You'll feel lost. You'll question your path. You'll wonder if it's working, and in those moments, the people who rely on motivation will fall off, because motivation is emotional, it's fleeting, but discipline is what keeps you moving when the excitement fades. That's where real growth lives. There is no shortcut to excellence. There is no express lane to mastery. You don't become great by rushing. You become great by learning, adjusting, and repeating. Think about any skill worth having: communication, leadership, creativity, resilience. None of those are built in a weekend. You earn them, you grind for them, you struggle through self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and silence, and you keep going not because it's easy, but because you know what's on the other side is worth it. But here's the problem: most people are too impatient to get there. They start something, and if they don't see results in a week, they pivot. If they don't get validation, they stop. They want growth to feel good. But growth doesn't feel good. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like stretching beyond what you thought you could handle. It feels like pushing through the mental noise that tells you to quit. And if you're not willing to sit in that discomfort, you'll never see your potential fully realized. Real growth requires you to zoom out. It asks you to stop obsessing over the day-to-day fluctuations and look at the bigger picture, because the truth is, progress is not always obvious. It's not always visible in the mirror or the numbers or the likes. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. The roots are growing long before the tree breaks through the surface. You just have to keep watering it, keep showing up for the habits, the learning, the actions that compound over time. And it's in that consistency, that patience, that you separate yourself. While everyone else is chasing fast wins, you're building something sustainable. While they burn out from sprinting in every direction, you're getting sharper, more aligned, more powerful. Because you didn't panic, you didn't rush, you trusted the process, and that kind of trust, that kind of inner calm is rare, it's powerful, it's what makes leaders unshakable. So if it feels like nothing's happening right now, if you're in the middle of the grind and you're not seeing the results yet, don't walk away, stay in it, stay focused. This is the part that matters most. The part where your character is built, the part where you earn your identity. Anyone can start strong. Few can endure the silence that follows, but those who do, they don't just grow, they evolve, they rise, and they lead. Real growth takes time. It's not the fast path, it's the forever path, and if you can be patient enough to walk it, even when it's hard, even when no one's cheering, you will end up somewhere extraordinary. Patience is often misunderstood. People mistake it for passivity, for indecision, for weakness, but the truth is, patience is a sign of power, not the kind that screams for attention or dominates the room, but the kind that's grounded. Steady, unshakable, it's the type of power that doesn't need to prove itself every 5 minutes because it already knows exactly what it's doing. Most people operate from a place of urgency. They feel like they're always behind, like they have to catch up, like success is slipping through their fingers if they're not moving faster than everyone else. But that's not confidence, that's panic. That's fear in disguise. That's someone who doesn't trust themselves enough to stay the course without constant proof that they're on the right track. Real power doesn't flinch when results take time. It doesn't crack under pressure or chase every shiny opportunity that comes along. Power is knowing what you want and not letting the noise of other people's timelines distract you from it. That kind of composure, that inner calm, it doesn't come from ego. It comes from clarity, and clarity is what makes patience possible. When you're clear on your vision, you don't need overnight wins. You don't need everyone to understand your timing. You're not here for fast validation. You're here for real results. That means being willing to wait while everyone else rushes. That means staying consistent while others burn out. That means being intentional when others are reactive. Patience is also control, in business, in leadership, in life. If you can't pause, you can't lead. Leaders who react emotionally, who make decisions based on fear or urgency, end up creating chaos, but those who can stay grounded, even when everything around them feels uncertain, they're the ones who actually make progress. Why? Because they can see clearly. They're not distracted by the pressure to perform. They're not constantly switching strategies or guessing their direction. They commit, they adapt, but they don't panic. Think about the most successful people in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, creators. Their journeys weren't quick. They didn't just show up and win. They trained, they failed, they got back up, and they kept going long after the spotlight moved on. What separates them isn't talent alone, it's the patience to stick with it. It's the ability to endure the slow season, the quiet years, the building phase where nothing looks impressive from the outside. That's not weakness, that's unmatched strength. In a world that rewards speed, it takes courage to slow down, to not chase every trend, to say not yet when everyone else is yelling right now. It takes emotional maturity to understand that timing matters just as much as effort. You can do the right thing at the wrong time and miss your moment. Patience allows you to wait for that moment without losing your edge. It's not about sitting still, it's about being smart enough to know when to move. Patience also builds resilience. It teaches you how to hold tension, how to sit with uncertainty, how to stay focused when the outcome isn't immediate. That's where real growth happens, not in the wins, but in the waiting. Because waiting is where most people give up. It's where they let doubt take over. But those who understand the value of patience, they use the wait to sharpen their skills, to strengthen their mindset, to prepare for the next level. They don't just pass time, they build in it. So if you feel behind, if things aren't happening as fast as you thought they would, don't let that shake you. You're not behind, you're being refined. Every delay, every setback, every slow season, it's building something in you. Something deeper than hype, something stronger than momentum. It's building endurance, focus, power. Remember, anyone can act powerful when everything's going their way. But true power shows up when things are quiet, when progress is invisible, when the pressure is high and you still don't break. Patience isn't waiting for things to happen to you, it's preparing while they do. That's what puts you ahead in the long run. So stop treating patience like a limitation. Start seeing it for what it really is, a power move, because when you can stay calm, clear, and committed in a world addicted to speed, you don't just survive, you lead. And that kind of leadership, it lasts. Discipline and patience are inseparable forces. One cannot thrive without the other. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Patience is trusting that consistent effort repeated over time leads to the outcome. Together, they form the foundation of real, sustainable success. You can't truly be disciplined if you don't have patience, because discipline requires long-term commitment. It asks you to keep showing up, keep pushing forward even when there's no immediate reward, even when progress feels invisible. We live in a world that constantly pushes urgency. Everything is about speed, faster results, quicker responses, instant gratification. And when you're surrounded by that pressure, discipline becomes harder to maintain. Why? Because when you don't see fast results, you start questioning whether the effort is worth it, and without patience, that doubt wins. You stop, you change direction, you chase the next thing that promises faster success, and you repeat that cycle until you're burnt out and nowhere close to what you really want. Discipline alone is not enough if you don't have the patience to let it compound. Think about the people who go all in on a new goal. Whether it's in business, health, or personal growth, they're motivated, they show up strong at first, but a few weeks in, when results don't match the effort, their energy fades. They start skipping steps, they make excuses, they lower their standards. That's what happens when discipline is short term, when it's not backed by a patient mindset. The truth is, anyone can be disciplined when it's convenient. Real discipline is doing the work when it's not fun, not fast, and not easy, and trusting that it still matters. Patience gives discipline its strength. It's what keeps you going when the outcome isn't immediate. When you understand that growth takes time, you're less likely to sabotage your own progress. You stop expecting quick wins and you start building systems that support long-term goals. You stop trying to force results and start focusing on showing up with consistency. That's where transformation actually happens, not in big, dramatic changes, but in small, repeated actions that compound over time. But to keep repeating those actions, you need patience, because you'll go through days, weeks, maybe even months where it feels like nothing's changing. That's where most people quit, but those who understand the relationship between discipline and patience, they keep going. This is especially true in leadership. You don't become a better leader overnight. You don't build a high-performing team in a month. You don't earn trust, influence, or credibility by rushing the process. All of those things take time, and if you're not willing to be patient with the process, you'll rush decisions, react emotionally, and settle for shortcuts. That's when standards drop. That's when you compromise on what actually matters for the sake of faster results. And the truth is, nothing great is ever built that way. People who master both patience and discipline move differently. They're not swayed by trends. They're not rattled by temporary setbacks. They don't need to constantly pivot just because things aren't happening fast enough. They have clarity on what they are building. And more importantly, they trust themselves to keep going, even when it's slow. That trust, that's earned through discipline. Every time you show up when you don't want to, you prove to yourself that you're reliable. And every time you keep going when results aren't showing, you develop patience. It's a cycle. Each one feeds the other, and the stronger they both get, the more unstoppable you become. So if you're in a season where things feel slow, where effort feels thankless, where progress feels like a distant promise, don't tap out. Don't assume it's not working just because it's not working fast. If your strategy is solid and your actions are aligned, the results will come, but only if you stay in it, only if you're disciplined enough to keep showing up and patient enough to let the process work. That's not easy, it's not glamorous, but it's real and it's rare. Most people won't do it, but if you can lead with both discipline and patience, there is no version of your life where you don't win. The world doesn't reward noise, it rewards results, and often the people getting the best results are not the ones constantly broadcasting every move. They're the ones moving strategically, quietly, and with patience. The world notices those who wait, but not just wait passively. It notices those who wait strategically. There's a difference. Waiting strategically means you're not sitting back, hoping something good happens. You're observing, you're building, you're preparing. It's the quiet grind behind the scenes. It's making decisions that serve your long-term goals, not just your short-term ego. You're not rushing to be seen. You're preparing to be undeniable. Most people equate waiting with weakness. If you're not moving fast, they assume you're falling behind. But high-level performers know better. They know timing is everything. They know some doors don't open because you knocked too early. Some opportunities fall apart because you forced them. When you're strategic in your waiting, you're not stopping the work. You're refining the process. You're analyzing. You're improving your systems, your mindset, your capacity to execute. And by the time you make your move, you're 10 steps ahead of everyone who sprinted out of the gate with no direction. The truth is, patience gives you perspective. It gives you the ability to see what others miss in the rush to make it. You see where the real leverage is. You start to understand when to speak up and when to hold back, when to go all in and when to sit tight. The world notices when you make moves with intention, not out of desperation. That kind of energy is rare. It makes people pay attention because it signals confidence, control, leadership. People who wait strategically don't need to prove anything. They're not addicted to being seen every second. They're too busy building something worth seeing. They aren't chasing constant attention. They're commanding quiet respect. And when they finally step into the light, they come with so much force, so much clarity, that the world has to notice. Because there's a difference between being everywhere and being impactful. The most dangerous people in the room are often the quietest, not because they lack something to say, but because they're waiting for the right time to say it. Strategic waiting isn't inactivity, it's preparation. Think of an athlete preparing for the championship. They're not trying to go viral every week. They're training, studying, healing. They're playing the long game. Then when the moment comes, they perform at a level that silences everyone who doubted them. That's what the world respects, not speed but mastery, not noise but execution. In business, this shows up all the time. The most successful leaders aren't chasing every market trend. They're not pivoting every week. They're watching, learning, building something solid that can't be easily shaken. They release when they're ready, not when the crowd demands it. And when they do, their impact is felt because it's been earned. That's what strategic waiting looks like. You don't win by being first, you win by being best, and being the best takes time, it takes patience, it takes strategy. You can't microwave success. And the world can tell the difference between someone who built their craft in the dark and someone who's just winging it for applause. There's a certain depth you can't fake. It comes only from experience, repetition, and the patience to evolve while no one's clapping. So if you're in a season right now where you're waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right alignment, make sure you're waiting strategically. Don't check out, don't disengage. Use the time, build the habits, study the patterns, strengthen your foundation, because when your time comes, and it will, you don't want to show up scrambling, you want to show up ready. The world will always notice results. And results come from people who don't just move fast, they move right. So let everyone else rush, let them chase hype, let them need the spotlight just to feel like they're winning. You're building in silence. You're waiting on purpose, and when you move, it won't be to be seen, it'll be to dominate.